Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Whether it's clearing out mosquitoes from your yard, protecting your home from invading insects, or protecting your home via crawl space encapsulation, use the company I use, Southeast Termite and Pest Control. For more than 50 years, they've been taking care of homes all over East Tennessee. Give them a shout this week. Visit them online. All right, Tennessee's end of the 2022 season will be 2 road games. It is the first time since 1937 that the Volunteers will end the season with back-to-back road games. And I don't like it. I don't like to break with tradition. The first of those will be South Carolina. Shane Beamer did a lot better than expected last year in the way he finished with South Carolina, getting them to 7-6, won their bowl game against North Carolina. Then he went out and got Oklahoma quarterback Spencer Rattler. Had a bad year at Oklahoma last year, but you go back 12 months, people were expecting him to be the huge draft pick, the best quarterback in the country.
Heisman Trophy favorite.
Yeah. Who knows what Spencer Rattler is going to do at South Carolina? And let's take a look at these numbers in terms of these programs. If we've got them, there we go. Over the last 14 games, it is 7 wins for Carolina, 7 wins for Tennessee, and it's been going in 3-year intervals, which means South Carolina's due. Considering we've talked about it, Jimmy and Chuck. South Carolina's caught up to you. That's almost the team that jumped you during your great decline. Considering you got to get back in front of them, does that give this game extra importance this year? How important is this Tennessee-South Carolina game on the schedule?
I think it's pretty important because you're looking at 2 coaches that are in the second year of their program. Now, Heupel got the best of him last year, and he did it easily. Later in the year, South Carolina was a pretty good team. And that was evidenced by the fact they won 7 games, won a bowl game, and they did it with 4 different quarterbacks. I think with Heupel, it's a big game because you don't want South Carolina to pass you after you just destroyed them last year on the field. So I think it's pretty significant from that standpoint that you want to make sure you keep your distance from South Carolina, that you're better than them. You don't want them to jump you. If they do beat you, then all of a sudden it casts a little bit of a doubt about, hey, which program's going in a better direction, South Carolina or Tennessee?
And don't forget, you'll also be kind of jockeying around for bowl games, hopefully, at that time. And I look at it kind of like, Shane Beamer, we were surprised with that hire a little bit, weren't we? And he's in the same recruiting class as a head coach with what Tennessee went, Josh Heupel. So you want to keep that. You're going to be recruiting in South Carolina. You've had a lot of success in South Carolina. So I think, you can make a case. There's a lot of reasons why this is an important game, and especially since you should have the better team.
Yeah, I think they're kind of in that same, Tennessee and Kentucky. Kentucky fans who watch us in Bell County and Whitley County up there, they would tell you, no, we've had a better record. We're the better program, but Tennessee still typically beats Kentucky. Tennessee and South Carolina, neck and neck over the last 14 years. I think they're viewed more on that same even level. So, you're going to have to break past them to start out recruiting them and to get back to your rightful perch.
John, it's so hard to pass teams. When your program is down, it's so hard to pass teams. The last thing you want to do is start falling back against their rival.
All right, Bob and Josh. Tennessee closes out the season against Vanderbilt. Clark Lee inherited an absolute mess last year, lost to East Tennessee State, then somehow managed to win 2 games. If they are much better this year, it will be all credit to him because roster-wise, it's hard to see them being much more of a factor. My question, though, because I don't want to talk about Vanderbilt so much, is Vanderbilt closer to beating Tennessee, or is Tennessee closer to beating Alabama? In other words, if the tail end of the conference is Vandy and the front end is Alabama, is Tennessee closer to Alabama or is Tennessee closer to Vanderbilt?
There's 2 different ways to look at this question. One, if you're
Tennessee
going tail end to
closer?
front end, I think Tennessee's closer to Vanderbilt. If you're looking tail, front, Tennessee's farther back here. If you're talking about Vandy being closer to beating Tennessee than Tennessee is Alabama, I would say no because of where they're at right now. I think Vanderbilt is now Georgia State. If they beat you, it's going to be a
massive
huge upset. So there's 2 different ways to look at it.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's actually closer to Bama. In fact, if you look at the point spreads, Chuck, didn't you say like 17 points Tennessee against Vanderbilt, and you'd make it higher?
Yes.
Well, point spreads that have been out in the middle of the summer, Tennessee's like a 13-point or less underdog, depending on where you look against Bama. So the odds makers are saying that Tennessee's closer. Now, both still feel like long shots, but Vanderbilt doesn't feel like an SEC team. At
That's
least
right.
against Alabama, Tennessee for sure is an SEC team.
Yeah, it's amazing that when you consider Vanderbilt, the little streak they had against Tennessee. When Tennessee was at what we think was the Nader or Nadir. I don't know how you pronounce it. But the fact that James Franklin went in there and had 3 good years, and then you look at where it is now. It's back now to where it was in the 90s when they were running through the Woodenheifers of the world, and just a string of coaches who win 2 games a year. I mean, you're right. It doesn't feel like an SEC team anymore. So, okay, Tennessee closer to beating Alabama than Vanderbilt is to beating Tennessee. I hope I said that right. Did I say that right?
I think you did.
I think that, yeah.
Very good.
But Tennessee's also closer
Closer to Vanderbilt, you think? Okay. All right, very good. When we come back, how sure is today's panel that Tennessee will win at least 1 game from the quartet of big names out there, the programs that have the names in the SEC? How sure is this panel that Tennessee will get at least 1 win against Florida, LSU, Georgia, or Alabama this year? Come on back. We'll put them to the test.